identity search for your group?
Yeah, I think we've been able to find some really good matches line wise. I think the switch from Paul to put Stas, Copper, and Nikki together is, I mean, it needs no explanation. It's firing on all cylinders. Lauz's line is playing really well. I think too bad we lost Tomer there, but we're all really high on Gus and Harks, and Lou has really fit in really well on that fourth line as well. So the makeup of our lineup is right on right now, and I think we're really working on staying close to each other on the ice and close support and trying to work our way up the ice that way, and trying to produce offense coming up the ice together.
We'll go next to Jason Bell from the Winnipeg Free Press. Go ahead, Jason.
Blake, thanks for this. You mentioned Stastny and what that line's doing. You're obviously close to him. We saw what he did a couple of years for this club, and maybe a shade slow start this year. That's in the eye of the beholder, I guess. But give us your take on why Stastny seems to show no drop off in his play at his age. And I mean, he's only a couple months older than you, but I mean, why he shows no drop off? Because he's obviously playing very solid for you guys right now.
Hey man, you can call it what it is. We're getting older. It's all good. He's so smart. I mean, look at his bloodlines. He got to watch, one of the best hockey players to ever play the game, and his father growing up. Their conversations were about hockey, and I've gotten to know over the years his dad, and just some of the ways he talks about the game is just, it's amazing. It's so awesome to have to sit at a table and talk to one of the greats about playing the game. And I think he certainly rubbed off on Stas, the way he plays the game. I mean, just the little nuances in the game, and I think it's not a new team for Stas, but he had to kind of reintroduce himself to us a little bit and fit back in, and where he's going to fit in the lineup and who he's going to play with. And he and I talked in Ottawa a little bit. We sit by each other in the room, and I think he was kind of pressing a little bit, but his game was right. It was no different than it has been the last 5 games. The puck wasn't bouncing his way. There were a couple chances that his line mates missed, I missed on the power play to kind of get that good feeling going for him. And you could tell once he got one, got feeling good, got feeling confident. I mean, he's playing awesome. He's just a great fit for our room and a great fit for our lineup, clearly.
We'll go next to Paul Friesen from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Paul.
Looking around the division, Blake, 2 weeks into it, has anything struck or surprised you, either the style of play or what it's going to take to be successful?
It's hard because it's still early. It's in fairness around the league, I think this would be typically you're kind of coming out of training camp. You play about this number of exhibition games, and now the rubber hits the road. And honestly, for most teams, for a lot of teams, it still takes a handful of games to establish what you're trying to do, your identity. And mid-season form is called that for a reason. I mean, it takes a while to get firing on all cylinders. So I think everyone's still trying to figure each other out, and every game, every matchup's kind of a mystery, and you learn a little bit more about yourself and about who you're playing with every time you face a new team.
We'll go next to Brian Munns from TSN 1290. Go ahead, Munnsy.
Blake, just curious what you've seen on video as you prepare for the Vancouver Canucks for the first time tomorrow night.
Yeah, they're explosive up front. They have some Ds that like to get up in the play. Clearly, they have a good power play. We got to be disciplined and try to limit their opportunities on the power play and keep the puck out of those guys' hands. It's similar to a lot of the teams in our division. A lot of firepower up front, and if you allow their guys time and space and opportunities on the power play, it can bite you. So we got to just stick to what we've been doing. Stay close on the ice to each other. Good support. Stay out of the penalty box, and that'll give us an opportunity.
We'll go next to Kelly Moore from CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, Blake, I know that every year is a new year. but you've been around for this entire 10-game winning streak against Vancouver. Is there anything off the ice or anything mentally that factors into a winning streak like that when you have had that kind of prolonged success against a particular opponent?
I guess not, because I didn't know it existed. So now I'm going to be thinking about it all day. Our matchups with Vancouver have always been very competitive and very close. I don't know if I'll have to fact check you on that one, but if it holds up, I think not many of them were probably by more than a goal or probably by more than a goal. So all very competitive, close games, and those things don't matter. It's new year, new teams, and we gotta focus on tomorrow night.
Just a couple more for Blake. We'll go next to Paul Edmonds from Jets Radio. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Blake, how you doing? Thanks a lot for taking the time. What do you see that's different when you're in that bumper spot on the power play than where you've been traditionally for the last handful of years or more over on that far side on the hash marks? Is it any different than what you've been seeing from the last couple of years?
Well, yeah, it's completely different for me. I think that's part of a team evolving, and we have different hands now. We don't have as many righties, so to make that work, you got to switch things up. I really liked our setup. I really liked our zone time. We've capitalized a few times, and just going to keep building. I mean, I think the guys that we have, with the puck right now, and Scheif and JMO and Kyle on our unit, dynamic players and guys that can just make plays every time they touch it. So I think Stas and we've kind of played everywhere on the power plays in our career. I've spent a good chunk of my career when I was on the power play early on, where I am now in front of the net. So familiar with it, comfortable there, and just really looking forward to our unit kind of building on the success we've had earlier in the year.
Now we'll go to Sarah Oleski from TSN. Go ahead, Sarah.
Blake, not a hockey question at all, but just wondering, you obviously have much shorter hair than what we've seen in a long time on you. What made you decide to cut the hair off?
Every time I was eating, hair, there's hair in my mouth, and it was time. It was time about probably before the season even started, but as you guys know, everything's been shut down here. So when things finally opened up, and we jumped through the hoops we needed to with the NHL to make sure that we were taking care of everything. But first chance I was getting, I was getting a haircut. So I look younger too, so feel younger. So I'm not getting older. I'm getting younger now.
We'll do final question from Ken Weeb from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
Thanks, Gregor. Just Blake, just a quick thought on the maturation process for Connor Hellebuck. Seems like he's able to put goals that he doesn't like to be allowed scored on ever, but it seems like he's been able to put what would be considered as goals that he hasn't liked behind him quite quickly this year and slam the door.
He's just confident. He's growing up, he's maturing, and he's incredibly confident in himself. And you can't emphasize enough how important it is to have a goaltender who believes in himself, because the best goalies I've played with, no matter what the goal was, it was never their fault. And, that's a great quality to have in a goalie, because it's easy to wipe the slate clean when it's never your fault. So he's got a bit of that. And I think any goal that goes by him, he thinks it was lucky. And we love all those things about Helly. So we never worry about his confidence or his demeanor, or letting one or two in that maybe he feels like he should have had, because there's a lot more good there than a fluky goal here or there. So he's he's the pillar for our team back there, and he gives us a chance to win every single night.